what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.
Hey, Rhea, sweet Sharita, party with me all night long. Say what? That's right, baby. Bring it to the front. Hey, Janine, well, guess what? Hey, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Black Brown, I get a little happy when I see you. What? Baby, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Francine, I get a little happy when you party with me. Well, guess what? When I see you, yeah. Hey, Jay, hey, Randy, I get happy when you party with me. Guess what? When I see you, yeah, yeah. Hey, Cole, I get a little happy. Happy when I see you. What? When I see you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, fellas, I put your picture on my mirror. Start to blush when somebody says your name. And my stomach is a pain. See you walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when I speak. Try to stand, but my knees go weak. What's happening to me? In your body, can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. We're gonna stop for a sign. That's the reason why. Yeah, oh, yeah. Hey, see you. Hey, Marlon, you sexy boy. Hey, oh no. I gotta be right on time when I see you. When I see you. Hey, fellas, listen. I scribble X and O's on my notebook. Checking out my hair and my nails. I feel myself up in the zone. I get nervous when you call. Say I'm not home. See your face. I hear my favorite song. Should I send an email at home? I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue? Yeah, I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. We're gonna stop for a sign. That's the reason why. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. See you. Marlon, so sexy boy. Oh, no. When I see you. When I see you. Listen, something now is taking over me. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna run. I'm just gonna stand here and see. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's on my mind. Oh, no. Around, I get shy when I see you. See you. Hey. Sitting so sexy, boy. Yeah. Oh, no. When I see you. When I see you. Hey, Fox, hold me down, listen. Well, guess what? When I see you, yeah, yeah. Hey, sweet Sanita, hey, get happy when you party with me. Hey, Janine, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Tony, I get a little happy when you party with me. Hey, Tim, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Marlon, I get a little happy when you party with me. Hey, Jay, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Nico, I get a little happy when I see you. What? Hey, when I see you, yeah, yeah. Hey, Playboy, I get a little happy. What? Happy when you party with me. Hey, hey, when I see you, yeah, 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 yeah.
Wait a minute. Look, hey, when Oh, yes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of our Big Like Live right here at Black Power Media. Oh, man. I can't think of a better way to get things started. Vibe band, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I felt stingy. I was getting ready and I was rocking out and I was like, why should I not share this? And that's how I feel. When I see you, I get a little happy. You know what I'm saying? And nothing puts me in a better mood than that pocket. Specifically, I do need to dedicate that to a couple friends of mine, and I'm gonna leave them nameless because I don't want to put their business out there. But just out there, all of us, like we're getting older, friends of ours getting some illnesses, So I just wanted to have a little fun, put some good vibes out there, pun intended, and start the show off with that, and much love to my comrades and friends I've lost touch with, friends I haven't been in close contact with. I still love you to death, and get better, get healthy, and let's overcome all of this. But yeah. Peace, everybody. Welcome. And I'm gonna get out to the Vibe Band show again soon. Word up. Right on. All right, so a number of things I wanted to get to this morning, have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of seriousness, and then if at some point anybody wants to jump in, they can join the show, come up here live, or just want to encourage people to continue to
put it in the comments.
And let's keep it going. Shout out to everybody that continues to help the channel grow. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe, and do all of those good things. Yeah. Word up. Okay. All right. So a number of things. Let's see. Not everything is perfectly prepared here. So let's just do it the easy way and start this way. Of course, big shout out to Kalanji, our comrade here at BPM, who just did a really strong interview with the daughter of Kamal Siddiqui, who continues to require some support and whatever attention we can give. And there's an event coming up here, 70th birthday event. I have it on my Instagram, so if anybody wants to just go there, I just posted someone else's Free Kamal Siddiqui account, so at Free Kamal Siddiqui for more information. But just in general, just to continue to support his release, medical attention, co-parent with Asada Shakur of Kasise, I believe I'm saying her name right, who again you can just see in an interview with Kalanji recently here on BPM, so definitely go and check that out. Oh, right. Yes, Chief Petty Officer. That's right, of the Revolution. That's right. Now, and just real quick, just to complete the pun, I forgot to clear this up the other day. Just to be clear, in the Navy, the Chief Petty Officer is the Master Chief in particular, within the rankings of the Chief, then Senior Chief, Master Chief. That's the highest rank in the enlisted ranks that you can get. And everybody knows that they run everything. The officers are disconnected, college educated, bougie, don't know anything, just in charge nominally. But everybody knows, officers included, chiefs they've earned the right through the real work of running everything, that they know everything, that they've earned, that they have the utmost respect among all the people on board, because they've do everything. And it takes like an act of Congress to get rid of them. So even officers can't just punish them at whatever for whatever. And shout out to my chief, who every once in a while gets in touch to reminds me that he predicted that I would be of something valuable to the world. Chief Bundy, white dude from rural Pennsylvania. One of the, like, I mean, again, one of the biggest contradictions. But like, you know, so anyway, yes, Master Chief, or, you know, Chief Petty Officer of BPM. I happily accept that. Okay, so that also said, I wanted to show this as well. I got a couple of a lot of interesting responses have been coming in to a lot of what I and we have been doing here at BPM, and I just wanted to try to acknowledge at least some of it. And this is not about I fully endorse or understand or agree with or whatever have you. Okay, it's just I'm just finding it interesting and compelling on some level. So let me just pull this here and let's get this to do, and then I can move that there, and then I can move that there, and move that there, and move that there, and move that there, and we should be good there. Okay. All right, so I wanted to pull this up, a Twitter thread from Kwabena Anoma Okodi Bresium. And this is from a little while ago, but I saved it for just whenever we would get to one of these and we could do this here. But so let me just show this a little bit. So talking about a recent Earn Your Liberation episode, apparently, where I, Diallo, and Geechee were engaged. I think this is in response to our discussion with Professors Na Dove and Malefi Asante. And Kwabena says here, African-centered versus Marxist. I agree with Dr. Ball's assessment that an African-led socialist Marxist political structure is a useful revolutionary tool. The inception of Ghana and Burkina are examples. By the way, the fact of the agreement is not why I've picked this, by the way. It's the depth of it's the thought put to it. I consider comparing a Marxist and a person that's African-centered, apples and oranges. To be African-centered doesn't delineate a particular political ideology, and to be a Marxist doesn't mean that a person may think that culture is irrelevant to nation building. I think I really do fully, like, I like that. I like that. Amongst African-American Marxists, there seems to be a lot of emphasis on the function of socialist nations in Africa, while being unaware of how state politics were influenced by active cultural and political traditions. Okay, that's interesting. On the other side, African-centered folks tend to push an idealized narrative of African culture and in some cases ignore the political corruption of these modern neo-colonial regimes. Although in my exchanges, African-centered folks don't discount that. They just count that as part of the white supremacist European infusion of you know, the imposition of European culture on these Africans, which is why Asante himself, even in that classic debate with Kwame Ture, would make the point that while Ture was saying we need to adopt scientific socialism, Asante was saying that even Africans on the continent have to return to their cultural sources and adopt an African-centered perspective, which would make all of these neo-colonial tendencies moot. Continuing, Kwabena says, I would dare say that both camps lean heavily on literature that ignore the history and impact of traditional politics, and they work on pre- and post-colonial nations. Okay. By the way, I'm not ignoring Western imperialist external and internal destabilization of these burgeoning socialist states. Anyway, just wanted to add my 2 cents. Enjoy listening and learning from your show. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And thanks for that tweet. I thought that was very interesting. So I thought we could start there this afternoon. By the way, I'll come back to the chat in a little bit. It'll help me try to focus on everything if I don't stay in the chat. So, but and at some point in a little bit, actually, I'm going to put the link, and if anybody wants to jump up here, they can join me. So Yeah, I'm happy to do that. All right, all right, so moving on there. Thank you very much. Got another very interesting sort of along the same veins. Excuse me. Nope, that's not it. From along the same line, at least, veins, lines. Let's see. I would need to copy the link and then paste the link and then remove that. As it pertains to indigenous people, that is. Oh, right. I can't do that here. All right. So hold on a second. Apologies. I got to pull this up over here because of reasons. Man, shout out to Vibe Band, man. I mean, every time, straight up. And I'm going to come back to this issue of mood and depression. Every single time my mood dips, if I put the pocket on, it will at least elevate. It doesn't solve everything. It's not some panacea, but the mood will elevate immediately. And I cannot wait to go see them live again. Anyway, I cannot wait to go see them live again. Grown Folks Go, The Pocket. Oh my God. It's the best. It's the best. My life was certainly not perfect, but thank all the gods, real and imagined, that I was born in Washington, D.C. and was able to be introduced to and appreciate and fall in love with The Pocket. Anyway, Edward Smith sent me this very interesting see, this is what I was trying. I can't pull this up without, hold on a second. Can I get this without it? Can I get all my messages out of here? Do I have to have all my business on the streets like that? And I'm assuming Edward doesn't mind this. I hope this isn't a problem, because I thought what was sent here was really dope. So Edward says, hi, Jared. I've been following your efforts to recuperate Marx from the dismissals and critiques of certain Pan-Africanist scholars lately, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware of a passage on Marx from the Indigenous Laguna Pueblo writer Leslie Marmon Silko's 1991 novel Almanac of the Dead. Never heard of it, don't know anything about it, so thank you for putting me on. I don't read enough, period. I don't read a lot of novels at all, so I'm not aware of many of these things, and this is a flaw, and this is one reason why it's a flaw, I think. Anyway, continuing, Edward says, just for context, the character speaking is an indigenous woman involved in organizing a reservation community to rise up and reclaim their land. She's responding to her people who keep asking her suspiciously why she holds up the thought of this white European thinker, Marx. Her answer is meant to put things in terms that they can easily connect with. So she says, quote, Marx has been inspired by reading about certain Native American communal societies, though naturally as a European, he had misunderstood a great deal. Marx had learned about societies in which everyone ate or everyone starved together, and no one being stood above another. All stood side by side, rock, insect, human being, river, or flower. Each depended upon the other. The destruction of one harmed all others. Marx understood what tribal people had always known. The maker of a thing pressed part of herself or himself into each object made. Some spark of life or energy went from the maker into even the most ordinary objects. Marx understood that the value of anything came from the hands of the maker. Marx of the Jews, tribal people of the desert, Marx the tribal man understood that nothing personal or individual mattered because no individual could survive without others. Generation after generation, individuals were born, then after 80 years disappeared into dust. But in the stories, the people lived on in the imaginations and hearts of their descendants. Wherever their stories were told, the spirits of the ancestors were present and their power was alive. Marx, tribal man and storyteller, Marx with his primitive devotion to the workers' stories. No wonder the Europeans had hated him. Marx had gathered official government reports of the suffering of English factory workers the way a tribal shaman might have, feverishly working to bring together a powerful, even magical assembly of stories. In the repetition of the workers' stories lay great power. Workers must never forget the stories of their workers. Workers must never forget the stories of other workers. The people did not struggle alone. Marx, more tribal Jew than European, instinctively knew the stories of or history accumulated momentum and power. No factory inspector's official report could whitewash the tears, blood, and sweat that glistened from the simple words of the narrative. Marx understood stories are alive with the energy words generate. Word by word, the stories of suffering, injury, and death had transformed the present moment, seizing listeners' or readers' imaginations so that for an instant they were present and felt the suffering of sisters and brothers long past. The words of the stories filled rooms with an immense energy that aroused the living with fierce passion and determination for justice. Marx wrote about babies dosed with opium while mothers labored 16 hours in silk factories. Marx wrote with the secret anguish of a father unable to provide enough food or medicine. When Marx wrote about the little children working under huge spinning machines that regularly mangled and killed them, Marx had already seen death prowling outside his door, hungry for his own 3 children. In the feverish work with the stories of shrunken yellowed infants and the mangled limbs of children, Marx had been working desperately to seize the energy of each child victim and turn the story away from the brutal endings the coroners and factory inspectors used to write for the children of the poor. His children were slowly dying from cold, lack of food and medicine, yet day after day, Marx had returned to official reports in the British Museum. Wage earning might have saved Marx's children, but tribal man and storyteller, Marx had sacrificed the lives of his own beloved children to gather the stories of all the children starved and mangled. He had sensed the great power these stories had, power to move millions of people. Anyway, thank you, Edward, for that. I thought that was pretty interesting. And to note that it's not just Africans that are struggling to deal with the role that Marx can play in helping them overcome their conditions. That's interesting. Right on. All right. Let me just keep moving right along here. Got a couple other things to get to, and then I will happily, of course, get to whatever you all have to say. If indeed it's necessary. I mean, I know, I'm often, many of us are merely providing. All right, this is some weird. I don't even pretend to understand what I read here, so I might need some help on this anyway. This story here, another take on buying power. Oh boy, from Afrotech. Oh, it doesn't show up. All right, hold on a second, good people. Hold on a second. Okay. Let's just take that out, do that there. We'll come back here, and then what we'll do is we'll just go over here. We'll pull it up over here. Woo, do, woo, do, woo, 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 woo. When I see you. All right. In Afrotech, Apple Music's top artists may have missed a multi-million-dollar opportunity. So anyway, let me just read it. Just track how this goes. Look at how Neon Money Club pulled up fresh from attending the 65th annual Grammy Awards to put us on game by merging investment education with music. Now, you all will have to break this down because I don't know who any of these actors are. In 2020, Roddy Ricch, who I don't know anything about, I don't think I've even ever heard the name before, had the most music played on Apple Music with 455 million streams. That shows you how I'm just old man and over here. Apple Music only pays 0.1 cent per stream, which means Rich made an estimated $4.5 million from Apple Music that year. Okay, so you read that, right? And you think, okay, this is about to be a critique of that relationship. Or I'm sorry. Let me not project my ignorance onto my astute audience. I read this and said, okay, where's because again, I'm sorry, let me back up. I got this in an alert from my Google alerts for buying power. So I open this up, I start reading. And here, as I've highlighted here, I'm highlighting this because I'm thinking this is where they're going. Apple only pays, what is 0.01? Is that even is that 1 cent? Is that less than 1 cent? Per stream. So to make $4.5 million, which is for most of us a lot, but it feels like very little when you are the #1 artist played in a year with 455 million streams. And I feel like maybe you all have figured this out already. I feel like once upon a time in the traditional already abusive music industry, if you sold, so gold was 500,000 albums, platinum was 1 million, right? I get it. A stream is different from buying a whole album, but 455 million streams, I'm willing to bet that person would have sold 1 million albums minimum and would have made, I don't know, what's the math on that? They would have made, if you're making 25 cents, I think Michael Jackson at the height was making 25 cents per CD sold. Wasn't that right? Maybe my memory is off on this. Anyway, it just doesn't feel like I can't do the math that quick. Maybe at all. Anyway, but the point is, this is not the focus of the story. So let me just get back on track. But what if the streaming service paid him, that is Roddy Ricch, instead of 0.1 cent per stream, what if they paid him in Apple stock? So then they do a comparison and basically say he would have made double if he had owned stock. Now, again, you might think, reading this far, are they going to explain how somebody would have arranged that contract? Would that have been is that an option to get paid in stock? Because I don't feel like Apple was going to make that deal. And then what if you try to extrapolate from that deals with other streaming platforms or record labels, stock instead of but they're not doing that either. Because as they say here, you don't have to be an investment professional to spot value. You already have good taste. Start first by researching the companies that give you value. You can probably find 10 of them by looking around your apartment. So already, without saying it, and I don't know if this is being made clear enough, they're acknowledging that value here is being defined by what the corporate world or the advertising world feels is to them valuable. So your value, this article is saying, Black people, your value is based on what these corporations deem that value to be. Okay, but they're saying this is a good thing and that you should take advantage of it by bringing ownership energy in 2023. We're bringing ownership energy. So whether you have bars like Roddy Ricch or just a hardworking person who subscribes to Apple, wears Nike or uses MAC Cosmetics. It's important that we think of how we can flip our relationships from consumers of the brands we love to owners. The buying power of Black Americans is projected to reach $1.8 trillion by 2024. Whether it's worth our dollars, our talent, or our culture, we power revenue for a ton of the companies in the US stock market. So again, we power revenue for them. That's how they value buying power. That's where that figure, the figure is ultimately just a measurement of all the money that all Black people earn before taxes and before they pay off anything else. That's, in the simplest way, the way these numbers are concocted out of thin air, not by assessing income and wealth data, and only by assessing consumer expenditure or overall earning. So this article also doesn't acknowledge that $1.8 trillion of Black buying power is, I think I projected in my book, but I'm not entirely exactly sure where it would be at this point. But it's at best 1/8 of all the buying power in the country broken down by race. And again, this is mythology, not based on what communities actually have, but what the advertising community recognizes can be spent on their products. So how this is supposed to flip the consumer, which is where, even as they acknowledge, even if unwittingly, we power revenue for a ton of companies on the stock market. That means you are buying and spending and creating wealth for them because they own it. How you think this is going to turn you into an owner is absurd and never really explained in this article. And I don't think it's meant to be made clear, because I don't think the people saying this even know what they're talking about. They're just trying to attract customers to what is described here as the Neon Money Club, a members only investment club where they get hyper relevant financial education. So I say all that to say, I started off reading this with already the basic ignorance and confusion around buying power. And then I look at this and I'm like, I don't even know what this thing is. I don't even know what this hustle is. This is like a whole new hustle. So I'm going to come to the chat shortly, and ask you all. The invite-only money club has launched a campaign that makes it known that it was not built for investors. In fact, it wants to break free from the traditional norms of what an investor looks like. As Afrotech previously told you, Neon Money Club, co-founded by Luke Bailey and Jackie Liao, provides ways for people to begin their investment journey, starting first with the areas they already love, such as streetwear, sneakers, and among others. So in other words, I don't know what they're promising in this members-only thing, of which I'm not paying, I'm not going to join. And while this is never financial advice, I wouldn't advise you to do that either. But are they suggesting that if I wear Nike, I can invest in Nike and become an owner? And that are they suggesting that they're going to teach me ways, if I pay them to get Nike, to, instead of just selling me a shoe, to put a little stock in that with it? Or if I get a contract with Nike, pay me in stock. I mean, what are they talking? Okay. All right. So I don't even, so I'll just leave that there and come back to you all for the answers. Sway. I don't know if I can get away with playing any of it. I'm going to share some of it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I just want to show, I watched this guy, Spencer Cornelia, who is, he's usually exposing frauds on the internet, which is how I was brought to his channel. But he's a very pro-capitalist, pro-investor, pro-real estate owner. He's all pro on all of that. But he did recently make a video about well, I just played, I'll run the first minute or so. I think I can get away with that. And then but it'll become relevant here in a second. but well, the quick of it is it's a response to those who would say we should buy real estate and to solve our racial wealth divide problems.
The American dream, owning your home. It's never felt more difficult to buy a starter home in America. And that's correct. Wall Street has now entered the game.
January, 33% of all homes purchased in the U.S. were bought by investors, often Wall Street-backed companies with multi-billion-dollar funds.
As Wall Street has entered the single-family real estate market, many American families have felt like buying a house has become nearly impossible. You may see titles like Invitation Homes and Pulte Group form strategic relationship for purchase of approximately 7,500 new homes. And you wonder who is allowing big Wall Street-funded companies to enter neighborhoods and buy up every house. We'll answer that in this video. This is a Forbes article written in 2006 titled Rock On with REITs in 2006. I want you to quickly picture yourself 16 years ago when this.
All right, I'm going to stop it there, and I'll put the link in. I see some of you said you've watched it. The reason I thought the video was very interesting is that as he goes on to explain that before 2008 in the collapse of that year, big money, the wealthiest investors were buying malls and commercial property and commercial real estate and that kind of thing. They were not buying homes. And as he alludes to, or maybe even says, they saw the coming crash. So they weren't buying the homes. They were buying the commercial property. After the crash, as he goes on to say, after everyone lost all of their homes, the big money started coming in and buying up all that property using pooled resources, or as he was saying, REITs, which is real estate investment trusts. It's just pooled money that the wealthy have. And so like all these major investment groups are, and he talks about, I think they're buying up like 33% of properties and all this. And he goes through and explains. Now, his conclusion is that Wall Street is not what's causing the problem, and then he goes into some other, and he's basically trying to say, don't blame the homeowner, don't blame the landlord, because of course he is one, and he's not trying to upset that system. He's not trying to, my point is I keep advocating, when we keep hearing from the mostly the black bougie black capitalist punditry class telling poor black people that they can overcome their circumstances with financial literacy courses and buying real estate. I keep arguing there is no real estate to buy, even if you had the money to buy it, and then you don't have the wealth to invest and compete with the biggest investors, obviously, but even the more dominant what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, the lower level, like Spencer Cornelia is, home buyers and flippers and all that kind of, you can't compete with that. They have too much, they already, and although it's either already owned or you don't have the investment capability to compete with that. And certainly black people collectively don't have that. So this idea that collective solutions come from all this is just more insanity. So that was really it. That was all right. I got another one, a very interesting video sent me. It's a little bit moving, but follows a lot of that same kind of logic. So let me just pull this up here.
Years total of my life in prison, 2 years of solitary confinement. I came home, I started my own business, obviously, as you see, Cloudy Donut, the #1 vegan donut shop in America. My goal was, how can I create a luxury product in an affluent white space and now bridge the gap between that crowd and our crowd? It's a generational wealth flip, you know what I'm saying? It's like, now how can we put ourselves in a position where, like, instead of keep complaining to these white folks, let's just start owning some shit. Let's start going to their communities, getting money from them, giving them quality products, bridging the gap, creating those relationships, building and architecting a life for ourselves, and then giving back to the people behind it. You see what I'm saying? The biggest thing a white man can do for you is vouch for you. Open those doors to those spaces where you know those doors closed. I'm not looking for a handout, just a hand up. That's it. But see, the goal for me as a black man is to be the only one. Not the most popular, not the richest, but just to kick the motherfucking door. You see what I'm saying?
So as I said in response to the person that sent me that, it's hard to be mad at somebody that did all that time and all that solitary confinement, but it's just more to my point so it's not personal. It's just more to my point about how the mythology and the propaganda works. that instead of a collective solution being provided, the idea is that individuals come out and start businesses in rich white neighborhoods and get white vouching support and customers. I can't even imagine how that would work. So, I mean, yeah, but very moving story. I just, like I said, I can't even imagine how that would work. All right. So let's just move on. Let's just move on from that. I wish the brother well, and I don't, but again, it's not a model we can replicate. And by the way, I get it that people can study and transform themselves, but I don't think it's fair to say that somebody who just did 11 years and multiple years in solitary confinement should have to come out and then on their own figure everything out. Like that, that shouldn't be yet another thing they should have to overcome on their way back. But anyway, so I saw this movie. Where are within our gates? Where are those brothers at, man? Adam Johnson retweeted my tweet that I'm going to share with you now. I really was hoping they were going to join us. I hope they're doing well. We got to get them on here for some serious movie stuff here. This movie, The Banshees of Inisherin. So I just said here, The Banshees of Inisherin is an amazing film. Subtle, dark, funny, deeply political, and allegorical. No violence and action to distract from bad story or script. Just great writing, acting, and something to think about for a long time. I mother effing love this movie. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you what I did with it in my own head to add value to it. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, you've probably seen him in many movies. It takes place on the fictional island off the coast of Ireland, Inisherin. And the simple part of the story is this character tells Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson's character tells Colin Farrell, we're not going to be friends anymore. Just out of nowhere. They live on this little island. They all meet at this one little pub and drink every day, and they farm and they play music. And it's set during the early 20th century Irish Civil War, and which you hear in the background, but is not a direct subject of the movie. Gleeson tells Farrell we're not going to be friends anymore. He's an older man, and he says basically, without spoiling anything, because I want you all to see this film, he just says, look, I don't have time for your nonsense anymore. I'm trying to leave a legacy. I'm seeing the end of the road coming, and I want to leave a legacy, and I don't have time for you. And Colin Farrell's character goes through this whole thing of trying to figure out, well, why would you not want to be friends with me anymore? He goes through his own changes in response. And I looked up a couple videos. I was trying to figure out what was all the subtext. And one of my favorite, one of my favorite videos on the subject said it was an allegory for the whole Irish conflict, that the old man was the the old man was the Irish Republican Army, the defenders of Irish sovereignty. The young man was the let's make a deal with the British. I'm messing this part up. But the point is they went into this whole thing about like the whole, and I'll leave it there. It was a subtext, like they were making this whole point about that. My thing was, what I kept trying to do was So I wrote here, a Black context could be, instead of the Irish Civil War, Black materialism versus cultural nationalism, where we are all trapped on a literal and political island outside the conflict, a la as what Coco and I were talking about the other day, mostly what she was leading us in the discussion of saying the other day, that about Rodney's discussion of the bourgeois nature of our ability to even step outside of conflict and engage in these discussions over Marxism versus African culture and all this other kind of, and then that we're all depressed to a certain extent, hence Afro-pessimism. And this video I'm watching was saying that the old man's character is depressed. And he goes into this video, goes into this whole thing about Carl Jung and saying we should embrace our depression. We shouldn't run from it. And again, I don't want to spoil it. So the video is making points about the decisions the two characters make in the film. But that part really rung out to me. And I thought I was picking up on some of this during the movie, but that some of the discussion helped me, put some of this. So my point is that instead of embracing the Afro-pessimism, a la Carl Jung, as was being said in this other video about this movie, we self-harm, which is relevant to the film, without spoiling, and fight one another, all while agreeing on the one point of fuck the police. If there's ever a unifying principle. So I'll leave it there. That's it on that. I just loved the movie. I absolutely loved the movie. And I do admit, when I watch movies that good, I feel like I'm always mad that we don't get enough that in the African world of this quality. And again, it didn't need a big budget. And that's another kind of a point to my point about we don't need money to be revolutionary. This idea that we got to get paid first before we can do anything. This movie does not have a big budget. And then I looked up again, and the director, who's done some other major films, was like, I don't want to do a big budget film. He's like, I will not do a Marvel film, apparently having the opportunity. And then I'm like, you take these two big time stars relatively, and you put them in this very stripped down movie with some beautiful scenery and all this other kind of stuff, and just a great story. And I was riveted. I was like, the whole time, just stuck on the thing, like, damn. Anyway. All right. So all I had left to do is, I thought what we would do is I would go through what I'll do is let me jump in the chat for a second, because all I had left to do that I thought we would do today is go through some of the comments on the channel. And at least some of them. There's some that I think deserve attention in another time, and so I'm just working backwards here in the chat. Inisherin, yeah, the Banshees of Inisherin, and I'm gonna watch it again. We might have to like do a more like let's like put the word out, like go check out the movie. Oh, I appreciate that. I don't know what I said that you agreed with in particular, but I appreciate that. I'm working. The Banshees of Inisherin is the movie. Starring Colin Farrell and Brandon Gleeson. And I was like, I mean, I just loved it. I loved it. And then when what I always end up doing, which is I don't always think is fair to do, I just start doing that whole, how do I make this relevant for me? I would like to see this in an African Black world context. This could be that could be this. It deserves its own, yeah, and it's just in the backdrop. And the only reason I brought it into the discussion is because I looked up a couple videos about the movie. Like there's a couple scenes where like you see that they hear, oh, the mainland, there's a battle going on, but they're not really talking about it. There's no overt, at least. Everything is subtext. Everything is very well done. Very, very well done. Yeah, we live right now, Craig. What's up? They should. I mean, to the extent that these awards mean anything, if anybody's getting an award, they should get an award. I really think that they deserve something. Oh, what's up, Nefa? He's not asking for a handout plan. Exactly. Or as he said, the best thing they can do for you is vouch for you. So I guess that could also be reparations. Anyway, okay. All right. Okay. I don't see anything requiring. Okay. I don't. Is that a? I'm assuming that's a compliment. And appreciate that. I don't know. I have to figure out what I want to do with all of that. Yeah. Well, don't watch it. Don't watch both of us. Do both of us what we deserve. Do the movie what it deserves. Turn me off and watch it if you're gonna watch it right now. If you have to watch it right now. Otherwise, let me wrap up here and then you can get to it. Don't do it at the same time. It's not fair. All right. So let me just. There was some interesting comments here. Let me pull this up from our comments page. Let's just go down. Let's see what the where we are. Let's see. Yeah, Malcolm X's mother wasn't white. That came up. That was a silly thing said in the film You People that we talked about on Earn Your Liberation the other day. I would have to disagree. This incredibly smart brother, the system works exactly the way it was designed to have these inequalities. Yeah, I think maybe Lynn Washington might have said that the system is broken or something like that, but you're right, it works. Or maybe Todd said that, or maybe I said that. But I don't think I would have said that. But I get your point. We have to encourage Jackie to do one of these on her own so she can respond to some of these comments. But I love her shows. I'm gonna like that for her. I love her shows too. I have not seen this episode yet, so I'm gonna leave that there. Let's see. I think there's some interesting thoughts going on here, but I couldn't always tease it out with everyone talking over each other. Let me like that for you there, Roderick. Yeah, sometimes we got a little heated during earn your liberation, but I mean, fun heated. You know what I mean? It's not like but maybe we could work on that a little bit. Please do, everybody, check out these Asada's Chants joints. This is so beautiful. Can't stop listening. Made me cry. Absolutely. I'm not an African, however, I am a melanated member of the third world, and I would like to say uhuru to the Black nation and uhuru to the third world, solidarity, and uhuru, third world will always have your back. All right on. Let's like that up a little bit on a comment to our discussion of the BLA, right? The BLA statement to the Black movement. Yeah, man, he dropped bars. I like getting a shout out in the verse. Rich El Dios. So thanks. A number of people have asked about this board game, the board game I made, and we talked about during Earn Your Liberation, and I put up in separate clips. But it's not for sale. There's no mass production line. So it's what I like about the video and what I like about the well, I should make this a little bigger, huh? What I like about what I said in the video and what I liked about the idea of the game is that it can be inexpensively made and customized to your political preferences anywhere. It was one trifold poster board and maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 pages total. I think that's even too much, but 10 pages total of printable items, and then some drawing, some rudimentary coloring and drawing. So I appreciate that, and definitely make a version for yourselves, and you don't need to give me or anyone else any money. I really love how brother Dr. Ball and brother Diallo, awesome chemistry. Geechee is a mediator who keeps the show together. Keep it up. All right, right on. Thank you very much. Let me add that. I'll even add a couldn't agree more. Black internationalists out here. Right on, right on. Lauren London's father is Jewish. So I didn't know that. I did look it up, and apparently that's true. Release it under open source license or sell it to Hasbro. Thank you, Coco. I appreciate that. Yeah, sell it to Hasbro. That's what I'll do. Do something for the board game and BPM support. Maybe. I don't know, but how would we mass produce that? I mean, I wouldn't even know how to do that. You know, and I'm certainly not capable of recreating that. So I think at some point I should come back and do something specific to this video about Gerald Horne. People keep commenting on it, and even those who seem to support me, I don't think, maybe I wasn't clear. I don't usually go back and watch stuff that I do, but I don't really. I don't know. What I felt like I was doing in the moment was taking an article and then one it referenced that had been sent me by a viewer and just interested by the argument, not, and maybe that is naive, maybe that's not, maybe that's, I don't know, but there was no, I have no interest in going at Horne. I don't even disagree with him. And I thought I said that. I thought I was like, that was part of my core argument or point. And I disagreed with the critics. I was just reading, I don't know. And I was interested in the argument. And I was like, and I did see a couple things. And honestly, I went and looked up even more. And there are more subtle criticisms of Horne's work in academic literature that they don't go nearly as hard as these folks went, but they raised, they're like quietly, but my point wasn't to go at Horne. I don't have a problem with Horne. It wasn't, I don't know. So I don't even know how I feel about this. I don't think he did a Tawana Brawley theory of U.S. revolutionary history. I don't know. If anything, I'm more compelled by that Anthony Montero argument. That Horne's work weakens what for Montero obviously is the communist point that working people should unite. And this emphasis on only Africans uniting and denying class is more a flaw of Horne's work than and what Montero was saying beyond that once you step outside the Communist Party, once you step outside Marxist logic, which I don't fully agree with, obviously, but politically it makes people make bad decisions, like supporting Obama. That I see that, So anyway. And I don't know. Yeah, this is from the interview Kalanji did with Kamal Siddiqui's about Kamal Siddiqui with Kisise. Please go check that out. Again, please check out the Asada Chant series. Yep, we love you too, Jackie. Yep. Great that you reference federal government spending. USA Facts, the federal government spent 28%, 7% more than it collected, resulting in the 1.4. The deficit means 1.4 trillion was left in the private sector. The government does not use taxes to pay for spending. It spends money into the economy and taxes back in portion of it largely to control inflation. So that sounds like the MMT argument, and appreciate the comment. Go ahead and like that there. I'm not sure what that is. Oh my God. with this, and all he says and does now is just brutally obvious that Chuck D is a Fed. I don't really like that kind of approach to criticizing folks, even if I agree that his analysis is not much help right now. Anyway. Just watch the movie Those People, the heated disagreement between Jarrod. I don't put my name up, but it's Jared, just in case anybody cares. And Diallo towards the end of the program. IMHO, both of you are 100% correct. Diallo focuses on the analogy of African Americans being a scorned woman, which implies the women should get over it. Now delete the analogy. Yes, we should never forgive and forget. Brother Ball is correct. Though I sometimes vehemently disagree with your views, Dr. Ball, you do trigger me to critical thinking and research. So as I said here, thanks. That is by far my favorite form of compliment. And that's it. I don't care if you agree with me. Do your critical thinking and research, and then you'll come back and see that I'm right. Hoping this will be sold on BPM soon. No, it's not. It's not. I don't see how we would. How would we even do that? And that's sort of my buying power argument. How would we even mass produce this game? We would have to spend a whole bunch of money on I don't know what we'd have to. I don't even know what we would do. I don't even know how to do it. Thanks for sitting through the 1619 series. I can't do it. I agree. White people as people do not care at all about black people. We're most visible people. We and other marginalized communities are being used as a cannon fodder in their class war against middle class, working class whites. Rallying around socialism will be a long uphill battle. Yeah, that's true. Nobody said it would be easy. Oh, exactly. Hold up. How did I even get this far in the broadcast before we got to this? What in the hell was going on here?
And again, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to have the discussion with both of you.
Oh, also tell people where they can find the Black Power Media Network.
Oh,
Mal.
So thank you so much for that. You just saved me. So they can go to blackpowermedia.org or on YouTube. Our channel is Black Power Media. You can hear all the alternative news that's centered in Black self-determination, Black power, Black organizing. You can find it there to help you find your guide to get into organizing and activism and fighting for Black folks.
Why does Brianna Joy Gray, and shout out to Brianna Joy Gray, because if you watch the interview, and I don't give a damn how good Kamau did, how well he did in that interview, in that discussion rather, when Brianna Joy Gray says to him at the end, giving everybody their outro moment, Kamau does his whole community movement builders, this, that, and the third. And then she has to come back and add that whole part in. She has to come back.
And again, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to have the discussion with both of you.
Oh, also tell people where they can find the Black Power Media Network.
Oh,
Mal.
so
she even got to read it. The Black Power Media Network. Shameful, Kamau. Shameful. Anyway, thanks for the heads up on brother Kamau. We're not spelling. We struggling with being on Brianna Joy Gray. Somehow, did you spell Brianna correctly? I don't think so. Never mind. I was going to say, did you spell that correctly and Kamau incorrectly? Anyway, he represented the Black nationalist radical tradition viewpoint very well, as the issue of class reductionist class collaboration by white left liberals is a problem that must be confronted. Looking forward to BPM allowing Kamau the platform for him to do these deep dives into the current political struggles of the Black brown community. So you're looking forward to BPM giving him a platform. So I had to write, wait, are you serious? Please have a look at the platform Kamau co-founded. Because again, in all of the failures involved in this,
again, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Was the fact that nobody mentioned he's a co-founder of the platform. So yes, Ron 84 1000. Kamal will have plenty of opportunity on the platform he is a co-founder of to share his brilliance. Oh man, I can't be mad at critiques of Val Sharpton. Please do check out the Kamal Siddiqui interview discussion with Kalanji. Diallo was on point. Passport bros are pathetic and said, listen, I'm not mad at you. Diallo can be on point. Check this out. This discussion. Yuri says, great game, but do not forget our indigenous brothers and sisters. Hashtag just saying. So as I responded, I did not. What did I say here? Wait, I responded. You clearly did. I said, and this is Yuri's a good dude too. I think I'll be on his show not too long from now again. You clearly did not pay enough attention. Refer to number 1. I did have loud music on in the background while listening to this clip. See? Again, I listened carefully. No other sound. Indigenous Americans weren't. Again, I don't have to mention Indigenous Americans or Latinos. If you actually look at the board. Look at the board. By the way, my daughter is nicknamed Sisa. I'm calling her Sisa. That's Bartolina Sisa, who is depicted on the board. So did I not only include Indigenous, I included Indigenous women who led armies against the Spanish. Yuri, but we'll clear that up when I go on your show. Thanks for watching. Again, Jackie's dope. All her stuff is dope. I'll let her address that. Warrior Class is dope. Watch Warrior Class, and I'll encourage them to do their own Q&A as well. Well, they do Q&A, but you know. Richard Sheffield, can you not see how reparations wouldn't be a corporate stymie? We are people with no infrastructure pockets to put our money in. We need to stop being afraid to have an honest conversation about this. Thank you for watching, and I think I fully agree with that. Why wouldn't Cuba speak out against the mainstream of blacks when they have African DNA? Leftists now have all the answers for black people again. I wish I was more clear about what you're saying here. What I do remember of this video is that Dr. Claude Anderson, says so many incorrect things about Cuba and economics and race and history that, so I'm not entirely sure what it was that I said. Why wouldn't Cuba speak out against the mistreatment of blacks? They do. So I'm not even clear what you're talking about. Cuba and Cubans and the Cuban Revolution has been speaking out on behalf of and fighting literally on behalf of black people all over the world. So no, they're not perfect, but I got a thumbs down on that one. That didn't make any sense. And I'm sure nothing I said in that review was anywhere near as wrong as everything Claude Anderson said. So I will stand on that with zero problem or reservation. Anyway. Now that's really changing the game. Don't hate the player. Okay, I like the pun. Mark Cuban is a racist. First time I saw Geechee so far off. I mean, Geechee just was asking a question. Did Mark Cuban? He was, come on, folks. When you watch Earn Your Liberation, some of it is a little bit tongue in cheek. Pun intended. Come on now, let's get our sarcasm game up a little bit. All right, but okay. Thanks for watching. Diallo just be talking to hear himself speak sometimes. I feel that way sometimes. I do feel that way. I think sometimes he's arguing against a ghost, but it's all good. I think overall, he's a net positive and a net correct. Net. Not gross, but net. But I would have to say that about myself and everybody else. So free Diallo. I'm down with free and Diallo. This was, I got to go back and look at this too. I don't think I saw, I know I didn't see the whole thing. So I'm gonna just leave that there. Maybe Kalanji will come and do a Q&A on it. I'll get your game, JB. And I'm saying no game to get. It's a model we can use and customize to create yourself, or for what you can customize and create yourself. But thank you for watching. So again, yeah, the sovereignty game, and maybe we can, I don't know. I think I explained it. Everything in the video says everything you need to know about the game. So it's Based Nigel says, who'll pay reparations on my soul is absolutely not about cutting a check. And I did actually respond here exactly what I said. The question I asked was, was that the point of the show, since the check is all they talked about getting? So again, I just want, I don't always feel like, obviously, I don't always feel like I'm being heard, and just want to make sure that you're being critical of what I'm saying, because I did not say that Gil Scott-Heron was talking about a check. In fact, that was, anyway, I just said what I just had to say. So but thanks for watching. MH Vichy, Jared, you baffle me with your stance of rewarding everyone for a debt that owed to a specific group. What is that? And how is that different than how you critique the Alexander sisters? And I responded, I'm sure I do baffle you and others, but I'd have to just ask that you hit rewind and pay closer attention. Then read my book and watch more of my videos. Read Thomas's critique too. That is Greg Thomas. All will help with your being baffled. Enjoy, and you're welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and like that comment that I made. But the short of it is, I didn't say, again, people keep straw arguing this and intentionally, willfully not hearing my point. I have never said we should reward everyone with what is owed Black people. What I said was, and will say again, is that tactically, if you are making an appeal to these very same white folks to turn over trillions of dollars to you, tactically speaking, it would make sense to say, and to make an appeal for something even bigger that would compensate them as well. Otherwise, you're just talking trash. Or tool up and go to war. But this idea that somehow we can be making this truly revolutionary Black radical argument to get reparations from white folks, and that somehow Jared is the soft liberal for saying that you should develop something tactically that would benefit them, since many of them are themselves working people who are themselves exploited and abused, not like Black people, not in the same way, but who could be argued in their own way deserve reparations, which is, of course, what socialists and communists are arguing in their own different language. A communist revolution is reparations for working people. It's and it's even better because it eradicates the way wealth is produced and the exploitation behind all of that, which reparations movements currently do not address. So I'm just saying, it's such a fraudulent, fugazi argument to come to me saying I'm the one looking to appease others, when all you're doing is going to them and saying, please give us something. I'm not making any other demand on you, and I'm not threatening you. Just please give it to me, because you've seen in the 1619 Project Hulu series that we've been abused. The rich white overlords are going to look at that and say, duh, because we intentionally been abusing you all these years and don't give a damn. The white bourgeoisie beneath them are going to be saying, maybe I didn't fully understand how much we exploit you, but I ultimately also don't give a damn because look how I'm living. So no. And down the line, the majority working class and poor whites are going to be saying, why am I supporting this? I already don't like you. And I don't have anything, and I don't benefit. So if you're not going to war with them to make them give you reparations, and you're just only making appeals for HR 40 bills to do studies, then you can't keep coming to me with this idea that I'm the one who's flawed, that I'm the one mistaken. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And a lot of these reparations supporters are not in the meetings I at least used to be in. They're not part of the true grassroots radical organizing efforts in many cases. They're not advocating for any of the anti-colonial efforts that all of our luminaries and favorited thises and that's, they're not doing any of that. So then they get into, and I hear this all the time, and I'm like, I don't get it. All right. Woo. Okay. Okay. But thanks for watching. Via Dark Hazel, even if black folks got reparations, it would never make us whole. It would buy our compliancy and allegiance. Is that right? Compliancy? Is that anyway? And allegiance to our subjugation of other groups. Jews would never have Israel if it wasn't for Britain, and the U.S.-Israel supremacy exists because of the imperial states that prop it up. For blacks to get a check would mean for us to be a global puppet state who does empire's bidding. Since black people are at the bottom, so to speak, who can we subjugate? And would that make us truly whole and warm the hearts of our ancestors if we become the overseers they live to hate? I agree. Thanks for that. But I suspect that a lot of reparations supporters, not all, I'm not even talking about so-called leadership, but a lot of people who would say yes to the check, they're not thinking about anything revolutionary. They're thinking about, and understandably, I want to pay a bill. I want to get my house. I want to get out of here. I want to quit this job. And I get that. By the way, that's another reason for them not to give $350,000 to everybody. At one of our recent faculty meetings, they had a whole discussion about how Morgan can't even hire all of the people back that it needs to fill all of its empty positions because people would rather quit than come back and work for this nonsense job and pay. So obviously, if you're giving everybody Sandy Darity's $350,000, of course, that's going to be an extended problem. And those in power are going to be saying, I'm not doing that, and give away my labor force. And then I wonder what it would look like and how people would really feel if everywhere they went, now that they got this check, every service that they wanted to enjoy was either cut back or non-existent because there was nobody there to work. At least for a year or a couple months before everybody's money ran out. Everybody be like, I'm going to get my hair and nails done. But who's doing the hair and nails? It would really be all the Asians then, huh? Yeah. All right. Anyway. Hate harder. That's always going to get a like from me. Reparations is other solution, but I'll take it. 350,000 could finance my get the fuck out of here plan. I hear you. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you. So again, okay, so then all what if we all did get 350,000 and dip? And what would that do to the global economy and to this country's economy? That would be wild. So the only people left in this country would be the already super rich black bourgeoisie. I don't know. That's funny. That would be funny. I'm not mad at that, though. I largely agree, but Wall for 2 points. A lot of people demanding reparations. Even Darity supporters are asking for the check plus policy for black people. Government contracts, grants, healthcare, reparations, infrastructure, establishment of freedmen's bureaus, etc. Others are arguing for reparations to be multi-generational project. Re-ups would be. I agree. So that's a good point. But my point is that wasn't discussed in the series. So again, my discussion of reparations was specifically in this moment in response to the Hulu series, where even when Darity was on camera, and somebody can check me on this, but even when Darity's on camera, at least what was left in the final cut, all he was talking about was the check and how much it would be. And two, I would argue that feasibly, the feasibility of socialism are not examined by the left like the feasibility of reparations. Socialism would require an appeal to whites to give up whiteness and immigrants to give up proximity to striverism, in addition to war with the global state. Again, I don't know which socialists you're talking to, but none that I talk to on a regular basis, none that I read or, dare I even say, on some levels build with, organize with, none of them fail to recognize any of this. And some openly embrace aspects of it. So, general strike isn't going to stop the war machine. And tech is evolving to the point of geofencing, mass surveillance, et cetera, will make these types of collective actions nearly impossible. Damn, well, that sucks. Even more reason to get past some of these myths then, huh? Thank you, Sugar Shan. Appreciate you, Sugar Shan. Always supporting the people in the channel. Appreciate you. Let's see. No disrespect, Richard. We heard from you a little bit. Let me just move ahead a little bit here. We should probably get to wrapping it up here at some point. Oh, but if you're going to tell me my media analysis is excellent, we can stop here for a second. I'm more of aware and focused as a result, brother. Appreciate you. Your work must be viewed by our children. There you go. Right on. Thank you. This is dope. My game is dope. Again, I don't claim with pride every single thing I've offered to the world, but sovereignty is one of them. And my babies are two more. You're welcome, world, in advance. You're doing a lot, Dr. Ball. I did, you know, a couple people have said this. I don't think doing these YouTube videos is that much, but thank you. Where did I lose? I lost the because you had said something. Oh, Hunters 2. I did see Hunters 2, and I quickly made my point. I can't get into it because the way season 1 ended ruined it for me, and season 2 doesn't correct that problem. The entree for me with season 1 was the idea of revolutionary violence. The idea that in this case, Jews and their world majority allies and comrades would seek violent revenge on Nazis. I love that. That's you know, for me, that's
Now listen, that's called my boy.
I mean, that's bars. That's bars. But when you end it with the leader being himself a Nazi who killed a Jew and then assumed the Jew's identity and then masqueraded as an anti-Nazi Jew, it ruins it. It completely ruins it. And I admit, I started watching season 2 out of spite, and it doesn't fix the problem. That's all. I don't even remember the details other than that. It doesn't fix that problem. So I just can't. It just was such a blow. I was like, why would you do that? Because you can't. Because mainstream media cannot give us anything. They're not going to give us revolutionary violence, and I've even said. I mean, and I've showed even work in other settings where I've looked into this where it's an ongoing issue among Jews. This inability to tell the story of violent rebellion against Nazis, even in the Hollywood environment said to be run by Jews. And to the extent it is run by Jews, it's not run for Jews. And that's another important distinction that not a lot of people take up. You know who took it up very well, and I hate that I'm saying this publicly, I didn't even think I would admit it, is the new episode of South Park. They don't get it right, but they get it better than 90% of the mainstream media that I've seen on this issue in their latest episode. And I think it's embarrassing for the rest of us. But that's my point. They're not running it. So even Jews can't tell that story. And that's why I hated Hunters. And that's why I watched the second season very, technology does not liberate. But when I say the Luddites are radical anti-industrialists rather than people with irrational fear of technology, I'm being absurd. Okay, fair enough. Right on. Good point. Well said, Diallo. Who liked this comment? Praising Diallo. Get the hell out. No, I'm just playing. Dr. Ball, anti-soda. Oh yeah, no, soda. Yeah, there was there was some anti-soda in there. Right. Thank you for watching. Yeah, the game. Yeah, when is the release? Black Business, etc. Circulator Revolutionary Ducats. Yeah, that's funny. The Conscious Observer says Farrakhan didn't kill Malcolm. You brothers can't be a black podcast with CIA rhetoric. You should avail yourself to the newfound information on the subject and abandon your Spike Lee joint education. Okay. Thing about this film is that you can't make a film about racism as it concerns blacks and have it be funny until blacks are out of the condition. You can't laugh with your oppressor unless you're totally blind. So it's uneven criticism. Or it can't even be said that there was equal dishing out of racist jokes because the Jews have a sense of humor about their suffering, and they have it because they're no longer suffering. Wow. It's one-sided racism. Essentially, the film was a weak attempt to help blacks power down and abandon their culture and identify for white supremacy. The Nation of Islam didn't kill Malcolm X. That's an evil assertion. It's ignorant and shows the leniency to the government. You're going to absolve the government of their culpability so you can go after the low-hanging fruit, FOI, good pun. And it only hangs low because it's our family. You don't want to climb the tree and grab the real culprit. Somebody, did I hit the thumbs down? I'm going to like it and dislike it. I'm going to go ahead and like it. I'm going to like it. Well, who disliked it? Let me not dishonor their dislike. Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to like it. It's wrong on a number of levels. One, you're not specific, the Conscious Observer. So you're specifically, I'm sure, talking about Diallo's perspective on this. I have made clear over and over and over again that I emphasize the state's role in Malcolm's killing and in benefiting most from his killing. And if anything, that causes me to become a target for Diallo. But I also think comments like this don't take into consideration what the Nation of Islam has said, and including what Diallo cites often, what Farrakhan himself has said on the matter. And again, look, we got if we want to be honest, we got to be honest. I've been in the mosque myself on a number of occasions. Whether it was Farrakhan speaking himself or any of the so-called lesser ministers, there is constant, indirect, sometimes direct, shots taken at Malcolm. And then there were the very overt hostile comments of years past about Malcolm. So it's not fair to just simply say we're representing the CIA and picking on low-hanging fruit. When the reverse could be said, and certainly I would argue Diallo's point would be that the Nation of Islam picked the low-hanging fruit of an unarmed Malcolm X standing in front of his own people at the Audubon, as opposed to the state that was causing all of the problems facing black people themselves. But anyway, that has never been my argument. So you're not certainly speaking to me. So you should be more clear, as you're asking us to be, when doing that. And Diallo and I have argued this on this very platform. We've had disagreements about this so anyway, that's a totally unfair. So maybe that's why did I dislike it? Maybe that's why it should be disliked as a comment. Anyway. Love bro Diallo. He sure is passionate about his convictions. I appreciate the camaraderie and Dr. Balls and bro Geechee's restraint when Diallo interrupts. This keeps the presentation lively, entertaining, and educative. Right on. Thank you very much. Black masses have to be educated to hold LeBron's feet to the fire. That would be true. If that were the goal, if that were necessary. Another great episode. Thank you, Dre of Funustis.com. Funustis.com. LeBron carried around Malcolm X biography for like 8 years, a pregame walk. People never bothered to read it. Dr. Ball is right on the nose. People determined to move. Hey, I'm right. As talented as Eddie Murphy is, he has no taste. All right, fair enough. What's Diallo's beef with religion? He's made that clear. Remove Diallo for Coco or for Ricky Ryan. What? Why can't we have them all? Why can't we have Diallo, Coco, and Ricky? Shout out to support for Jackie's show. Shout out to support for Kalanji's show. Let them deal with those. The game, that game and similar is what make dumb Ron DeSantis go. I don't understand that, Deborah Cooper. Dumbass Ron DeSantis a godsend. Are you saying my game is the problem? Oh, no. Shout out to Sport for the Remix Morning Show, Sean and Jackie's show. I do ignore Beyonce. All right, right on. My daughter said they ignore her now for the most part. Right on. I mean, they never paid her much attention, so I'll take credit for that. Diallo mad because his jumper is broken. All right, that's funny. I'm flawed. I've been watching sports my whole life. It's an addiction. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So to the point that one video about the Banshees of Inisherin made about Carl Jung, you should embrace, don't run from your addiction, embrace it and try to figure out what causes it, and then you can deal with it. Interesting dialogue, discussion for debate. Hope to see BPM Barbershop uninterrupted discussion in the future. LeBron and co-style and etc. Blessings all. Thank you very much, Romy. Thanks for supporting Jackie's show. Oh, some bougie Ash Cinderella just want to normalize assimilation into their culture. Team Diallo. All right, All right, I think I'm gonna do a couple more, and then I think it's time to wrap this on up. I'll come back to the chat. No one in the history of the NBA, including MJ, of the entire apparatus of the media and multinational corporations, come in unison to promote a player like LeBron. If anyone pay attention to sports, as sports talk radio, it's LeBron, player puts CBA rules in any league in their history. Okay, well, all right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Diallo, James' shoes are built for a giant. They aren't too appealing for kids relative to Jordan. Dr. Ball is right. The energy around the situation allows athletes, entertainers to express concerns and they move on. Consider fellow ball chaser Steph Curry and his wife writing a letter to their public housing authority to oppose low-income condos being built behind their $30 million estate. Wow. Yet they both have spoken out in favor of the BLM against police brutality. Trump said, I'm not sure it's cognitive disobedience or class solidarity. All right. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. We'll come back. We'll do some more of this another time. Anybody in the chat, anything from me? You all are on your own. You all got your own thing. Introduce the soda awards. 5 cans of soda. That's a good idea, Quasi. That's a good idea. Uh-huh. And if they mess up, can we and wait. If they mess up, can we give them a hopping bob? I like that. That is an excellent idea. That is an excellent idea. Yeah, that was funny. Mr. T's made some music. That was a good one. All right, good people. Thank you all for coming through who are here live. Those who will see this later, thank you very much. No, I agree with you that they're not the same as committing murder. And I do prefer emphasis on the state, but there was one comment in there. You know what? I don't know if let me see if there was actually a comment I thought I did want to respond to, and I'm just reminded of that. Anyway, the point of the comment was that it was in response to our discussion around For the People. And they said that I can't be taken, that Jared can't be taken seriously when Jews are the subject. And I get it, obviously, being mixed. My mother's a Jew. I therefore am biased and can't blah, 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 blah. But I in many ways, just like is often said of those of us who are mixed or sometimes just light skinned, I've overcompensated. I've over corrected for that variable. So if you actually listen to my analysis and what I've actually had to say in seriousness about Jews and any other, and their relationship to Black folks, I would put that analysis up against anybody. Anybody. Pick them. Pick them. And it's, again, one of the few areas where I think my public contribution has been really on point. So the discussion with Diallo about the movie the other day, that's not, I don't think it's fair to judge any of us on that, on that setting where we're all back and forth and bickering. And certainly I'm mostly wanting to have fun. So I would just invite whoever, I can't remember, I didn't get to it. I thought, but whoever said that, whoever feels that way, check out the rest of the content and then be specific. Because I could just as easily say, okay, so does that mean when I'm talking to Diallo or Geechee or to any other fully Black person that if the subject is Black people, that they can't be taken seriously because their biases make impossible them reaching a sound conclusion? I mean, like, how far do you go with that analysis? Or like my godfather says, what would you say if I was tall? Him being a short man. So in other words, what have I said that if my mother was not a Jew would be incorrect? But otherwise, that's cool. I mean, it's easy to take those shots. And I'm here, I'm on YouTube. Obviously, I expect some levels of that. But I don't know. The comment, anyway. So that was that. That was that. Inglourious Bastards, it's not, so it's a fantasy film where the leader of the revolutionary violence is a white Gentile. And it's a Quentin Tarantino film. So, again, why can't Hollywood, even Tarantino, take any of the at least 100 documented examples of Jews rising up in armed resistance against Nazis and turn that into a film? Why the need to descend it to fantasy where they're being led by a Gentile? That's exactly sort of the problem I have with the other film. I would be probably even more upset if a film that purports to be about African revolution is somehow showing me leadership coming from non-Africans. It destroys the value of revolutionary violence for me. So Inglourious Basterds is just another silly Tarantino film. That does all the same things. I think was that one French woman, was she a Jew herself, or was she just part of the French resistance? It's like, were any Jews other than the one dude with a bat subservient to Brad Pitt involved in revolutionary violence? So I'm it's like, it's not even like, it's like Jews weren't even like agents in that. I posted this before. There was an extremely detailed rebuttal of your engagement with Marx on your leftovers video left by user S. Jones that I'd love to hear. But where is it? Where is this extremely detailed rebuttal? Please send it to me or link it. Drop the link now. I may not get to it this moment, but I don't know what. And if it's good, I definitely want to see it. What program on this channel help us better understand Marxist philosophy and assisting liberation, ratifying racism, white supremacy? I don't know if there's one program. I think you'd have to look at the ongoing conversations that I and others have been having. We've had a whole bunch of them. Rob, I just have to ask you to dig into the channel and get busy. There's so many conversations about Black August, George Jackson, scientific socialism, Claudia Jones. I can't even think of the Black Liberation Army. I mean, we've done so much. The channel has done so much that in various ways addresses that. There is not one program that does it. We've had Brother Irvin on about Black anarchism. We had Frank Chapman on about socialism. We had the now late Perry talking about Hubert Henry Harrison. We've had, there's so much. Really. And to be fair to myself, it's even way more than 2 years. If you go to even the older stuff on the channel before we became BPM, if you go to our mixwhatilike.org and are willing to deal with some audio and written, it's just so much. I love Diallo too. I think Jeff Perry, thank you for that. He was a good dude. Thank you for that. And I loved his approach and I appreciated his work. So yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And yeah. So sorry, Rob. I went a little too. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Rob. I didn't mean to. I'm a little bit. Maybe I went a little bit, little overboard with it. But anyway. Yeah, another Tarzan movie. That's what that was. That's what that Django Unchained joint did the same thing. That first scene where that white dentist shows up and he tries to free them and they stand, those enslaved Africans standing there looking at him and he has to tell them to run off. My first viewing, I said, they'd have probably killed you before you had a chance to say that and been long gone. Like, enough already with that. I was like, these movies better get all up the way out of here. Anyway. All right, good people. Hey, all seriousness, we do a lot of heavy lifting around here. A lot of us are suffering on various levels. So much love and strength to all of us. And I'm going to end where we started. I'm going to end where we started. Because it gets no better. It gets no better than where we started. And it is exactly how I feel when
I love to see my people party with me, man. Good to see
shout
you,
out to
Black
Vibe
Brown.
Band. Shout out to the
Sweet
Pocket.
Nikita, Miss
Thank you all
Rhonda.
very much. I will catch you all next time here at I Mix What I Like.
Happy birthday, Miss J.
Willing to fight for it, like Fred Hampton used to say.
Rhea, Sweet Sharita.
Let's
Party
go.
with me all night long. Say what? That's right, baby. Bring it to the front. Hey, Janine. Well, guess what? Hey, when I see you there, I get a little happy. Hey, Black Brown, I get a little happy when I see you. What? Baby, when I see you there, I get a little happy. Hey, Francine, I get a little happy when you party with me. Well, guess what? When I see you there. Hey, Jay, hey, Randy, I get happy when you party with me. Guess what? When I see you there. Hey, Cole, I get a little happy. Happy when I see you. What? When I see you, Listen, fellas, I put your picture on my mirror. Start to blush when somebody says your name. And my stomach is a pain. See you walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when I speak. Try to stand on my knees. What's happening to me? In your body, can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. We're gonna stop for a sign. sexy boy.
Never know when you might walk down.
Oh
So
no.
I gotta be right on time when I see you.
When I see you.
When I see you.
Hey fellas, listen. I scribble X and O's on my notebook, checking out my hair and my nails. Look, I feel myself up in the zone. I get nervous when you call. Say I'm not home. See your face. I hear my favorite song. Should I send an email at home? I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue? Yeah, I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. We're gonna stop for a sign. That's the reason why. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. See you. Yeah. Marley, so sexy boy. Oh, no. When I see you. When I see you. Listen, something now is taking over me. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna run. I'm just gonna stand here and see. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always on my mind.
Oh no.
Around I get shy when I see you.
See you. Sitting so sexy, boy. Yeah. Oh no. When I see you.
When I see you.
Hey, Fox, hold me down. Listen. Well, guess what? When I see you. Yeah, yeah. Hey, sweet Sanita. Hey. Get happy when you party with me. Hey, Janine. When I see you. Yeah. I get a little happy. Hey, Tony. I get a little happy when you party with me. Hey, Tim. When I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Marlon, I get a little happy when you party with me. Hey, Jay, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Nico, I get a little happy when I see you. What? Hey, when I see you, yeah, yeah. Hey, Playboy, I get a little happy. What? Happy when you party with me.